8 years ago, everything in my life shifted. The turning point came the night my husband, Tom, uncovered the truth about my relationship with my boss, David. His suspicions had been building for months. My frequent late nights at the office, unexpected business trips, and the growing emotional gap between us. Deep down, he knew something was wrong. And when he finally confronted me with undeniable proof, the hurt in his eyes said it all. There was no way to explain it away. It wasn't some sweeping romance or a love story. It was a chain of reckless choices during a period when I felt deeply unhappy in my marriage. I had been working at the company for 5 years, and David, successful, magnetic, and seemingly attuned to me in ways Tom wasn't, became my escape. What began as harmless conversations slowly crossed the line. I convinced myself that the rush of secrecy somehow justified the risk. But I was deluding myself. The night Tom found the emails, the evidence was clear. He didn't shout or demand explanations. He just looked at me with disbelief and pain etched across his face. Then he left, gone for 2 full days. When he came back, it wasn't a talk. It was to collect his belongings and walk away for good. The months that followed felt like moving through fog. I stepped away from work, unable to face David or the pitying looks from colleagues. Tom filed for divorce quickly, and I didn't fight him. I knew I had destroyed what we had, and there was no undoing the damage. I moved into a modest apartment tucked away in a quiet neighborhood where no one knew me. The privacy was a small comfort, but it also reminded me daily of everything I had thrown away. Within 6 months, the divorce was finalized. We had no children. So the legal process was straightforward, but the emotional toll was immense. Our families, once intertwined, were fractured. Friends chose sides, and some simply drifted away. The loneliness was suffocating, and I had no one to blame but myself. Eventually, I forced myself to return to work, though not at David's firm. I resigned, unwilling to endure the whispers or the judgment. Instead, I found a job at a smaller company where no one knew my past. It felt like a clean slate, though guilt clung to me like a shadow. I buried myself in work, trying to quiet the nagging sense of loss. Over time, I sought therapy. I needed to understand why I had made such destructive choices, why I had undermined my marriage rather than confronting its flaws. I came to see that the affair wasn't really about David. It was about deeper cracks between Tom and me, issues I had ignored until I chose the coward's path of escape. Meanwhile, Tom rebuilt his life. Within a year, he began dating again, and eventually, he met someone serious, a woman named Emily. From what I heard, she was everything I wasn't. Steady, kind, genuine. They seemed happy, and though it stung, part of me was relieved he had found the peace I couldn't give him. 3 years after the divorce, fate brought us face to face at a mutual friend's wedding. It was the first time I had seen him since the night everything collapsed. We exchanged polite greetings, but the distance between us was undeniable. The guilt surged all over again when I saw the lingering hurt in his eyes. I couldn't tell if he would ever forgive me, or if I would ever forgive myself. In the following years, I stayed in therapy and joined a support group for people affected by infidelity, both those betrayed and those who had been unfaithful. Listening to their experiences opened my eyes to the full weight of my actions. It wasn't just about what I had done to Tom. It was also about what I had done to myself. The affair had warped the way I saw my own worth, and I had to confront that truth head-on. By the 5th year after divorce, I had reached a fragile kind of peace. With the encouragement of colleague-turned-friend, I launched a small business, something I had always dreamed of but never dared to attempt. It didn't erase the past, but it gave me a sense of purpose and renewal. Around that time, I learned Tom and Emily were engaged. When I saw the announcement, conflicting emotions hit me. I was sincerely happy for him. He deserved stability and love, but part of me mourned the life I might have had if I had been stronger, more honest, less selfish. Now, 8 years have gone by. Tom and Emily are married and recently welcomed their first child. I mailed them a congratulatory card, never expecting a reply. To my surprise, Tom reached out weeks later. He thanked me for the gesture and asked if I would meet him for coffee, not to rekindle anything, but to finally close a chapter. When we met, it felt like catching up with someone familiar yet distant. We spoke about how our lives had unfolded, how we had changed. He admitted that although my betrayal had devastated him, with time he realized we had both contributed to our marriage's breakdown. He regretted not being more present, not noticing the signs that I was drifting. Hearing him say that didn't absolve me, but it mattered that he no longer saw me only as the villain in his story. He told me he had forgiven me, not for me, but for his own peace of mind, with a new family and a future ahead. He couldn't afford to stay bound to the past. We parted without drama, no reconciliation, no reigniting of old feelings, just a quiet, mutual recognition that we had both grown and moved on. Today, I continue to run my business, which has grown beyond what I imagined. I've begun dating again, but with more care and awareness. I now understand the fulfillment doesn't come from temporary excitement or secret escapes. It comes from deliberate effort, from building a life with integrity. The affair remains the greatest mistake of my life, but it became the lesson that reshaped me. I am no longer the same person I was 8 years ago, and for that, I'm grateful. I've learned to be honest with myself, to face my flaws, and to work toward being better. The past can't be rewritten, and I'll always carry the weight of my choices. But over time, that burden has become lighter. I lost my marriage, yes, but in the wreckage, I discovered something I hadn't expected, myself. And sometimes, that's the hardest, most valuable thing you can ever find.